Was there anything extraneous that was cut, that you shot, that you cut, that wasn't in the special edition later?
Most of my role. I'm kidding. No, I don't pay that much attention.
I'd say one thing. There was a scene that was never shot, but it was in the script, and it was where we were supposed to, when we get out of the hyper sleep thing, capsules, we were all supposed to go straight from there into a unisex shower where we take showers with, no clothes. And that one never happened. No, we didn't shoot it. We kind of, I think they kind of sprung it on the girls at the last minute, and the girls was like, I don't know about this, so they kind of scrapped it.
Oh, I thought they shot that.
It was supposed to be like in the future, you do what you gotta do, is, men and women take showers together, we're all Marines. Like,
Yeah, right.
Like, yeah, I got threats, they don't. That ain't happening.
I have man tits, they don't.
This is for Jeanette. First of all, this Ripley and Vasquez, hopefully you've heard this from other women who were growing up and seeing this at the time, that you guys were just awesome role models, and you just kicked so much ass in this, so thank you. First of all, how did you find them, or did they find you? And second of all, were you working out already, or how long did it take you to get in that amazing shape?
I was already working out. I'd already been working out for a couple of years anyway, so no. So, because I was living in London, and I was sort of a frustrated, unemployed actress, and so I went to a gym and I started working out. So I was in that shape when they found me, and how they found me was they had advertised in the local acting paper, because the same thing, they had to search through all the British Equity members who were American citizens first to sort of satisfy the law of the union bringing over. So they had to see all the Americans there. So I saw an ad for Americans who had a British Equity card, so you guys, right? And it was for a movie called Aliens. And I had seen the original one, like, 8 years before or more than that, and I thought for a millisecond that it was going to be the second part, but not really, because in England, when you have your green card, you're called a resident alien. Yeah, and that's what you're called. You're called a resident alien. So I kind of thought, oh, they're doing a film about Americans who live in...
And she signed up, that's the line.
She never worked on a movie before either. Oh my goodness.
Well, I did, because most Americans there had married. You have to marry someone to be. So I thought it was about kind of the underground Americans living there. So I went to the audition. I didn't have an agent, so I had no idea. So I dressed up really nice in my hair, and I had makeup on, and completely inappropriate. The only thing was that it was really hot, kind of unseasonably hot, and I was wearing a sleeveless blouse or something and a skirt. And so I went into the office, and Gail was there, and there was a big picture of Terminator. And I had just seen it, and I was like, oh, cool movie. And she said, oh yeah, that's ours. And I was like, what? Yeah, we made that. And I was like, oh, wow. And then, do you know what this movie's about? I said, oh, no, can you tell me? She said, well, it's about, you saw Aliens, it's about a bunch of Marines that go back. And I was like, oh my God, I'm completely, and she said, there's Marines? And I said, oh, well, I'm kind of, strong, and I kind of, like that. And she said, oh, you work out. So after the interview, she said, well, could you come back and, dress a little more appropriately for the role? And, read the script and then come back and read. And long story short, I wasn't reading for Vasquez because they kind of already, I don't know if they'd already cast her or they were going to cast her in the US or something, but they gave me her lines to read because the part that I was reading for didn't have many lines. I think it was either the pilot or the med tech or something. So I read for Vasquez, and I don't know, how can you read a scene and not read as the character? And so I read as the character, and then they sort of kind of reworked it and kind of thought about it, and then Vasquez. So that's how I got there.
On your way out, did they ask you to go like this?
She had to do pull-ups.
And adding, piggytailing onto that, what she said, Jeanette, Mark, and myself were living in England at the time. And so we got cast under British Equity. And so we never received a penny from this movie since we first shot it. Not one penny. But what makes this movie for us is you guys. Because you guys keep this movie alive after 25 years. And, you know, we don't receive a check every month, but we do receive, you know, fan mail from you guys.
Big guys dinner a lot.
We receive fan mail from you guys, we receive a lot of love, and that's what makes the movie kind of special and live on for us. So thank you.
We're going to be passing a basket.
Just for the British Equity Act. Now, Jeanette, you mentioned Alien, and I wonder, when you're making this film, was Ridley Scott's Alien ever looming over you, or Jim, or Gail, or at a certain point you should have to divorce yourself from that and just make this movie?
Well, I mean, I love that movie. I remember going to see it, but I mean, it was a completely different movie. I mean, in my mind, that as far as genres, that was the haunted house, you know, movie, and this was the war film. So genre-wise, completely different. So no. And also, it was funny because had you worked on Revolution? Or yeah, a bunch of the guys had just kind of not come off Revolution. It was like the big hype, you know. Oh, it's gonna be amazing, and it just had tanked, and so everybody was kind of cynical. It was like,
Diabolical.
hey, you know. But it was like, you know, it doesn't matter what the first one was, or who the director, who the star is. You know, you make it, and then just throw it out there, and who knows what happens.
Well, there's another issue. When, Ridley Scott's a British guy, and he made Aliens, and it was a wonderful, great, powerful movie. The first horror science fiction movie I ever saw. But then when we got to England, we're going to make Aliens, and Jim had a little beard, and they were calling him Grizzly Adams. What right do you have to come here and try to top Ridley Scott? Oh my God! So they were kind of snobbing us a little bit. And I mean, I'll never forget, they said,
29 or something?
huh?
How old was he? 30, 29?
Yeah, I don't know. But they would say, like, bring in the artistes. And I said, what are you, a wise guy? That's what they call actors over there. I mean, I didn't know that. I thought they were snobbing us. And it kind of started out edgy like that. And then we started cutting loose. And you guys had that attitude. I didn't know that.
What?
Never mind. No, it was great to you.
We took you around town because we lived there.
Yeah, you did. You showed me everywhere.
No, it was great.
Marlon Brando had just been there making Superman. And I heard the story where he didn't want to come out of his trailer because it was drizzling. So they built a plywood tunnel like a half a mile to himself. He did. And I thought, why are they doing that for us?
It was great. Because it was shot out in Pinewood, which was outside of London, but we all lived in London, and you know, we had our families and our, you know, and it was great. So they would always come in and stay with us, and we'd show them around, and so it was a lot less lonely for them just hanging out in their hotel, you know, drinking.
Michael, can you talk about when you first met Jim for Terminator? What your impressions were initially?
I went in and read for him and Gail at Gail's house for the Terminator, and that's the story I've just been written about a lot. I had been up for Cat on a Hudson Roof that was on stage down in Los Angeles. Jose Quintero was kind of a famous theater director. And all morning long he was working me, and then I left that audition, went to Jim's auditioned for the Terminator, and they called my agent and said, oh, we really like him, but, you know, we can't have anybody regional. Like, what do you mean, his accent? And I said, well, he doesn't have an accent. And then it kind of, he was a Cat on a Hudson Roof, it's probably a carryover. So I went back in and read for him again, and, you know, I read with a few actresses. Rosanna Arquette was one of them, who's I just did a movie with that's coming out in January. It's just awesome. It's called The Divide, man. It's just, woof. Some great performances in it. Not mine, but.
That's not what I heard.
What was the question?
Just what were your impressions of Jim was?
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, he had done
He was
one film before
He was
that.
like a kid. He was like a kid. Always to me, for Jim, doing the Terminator, he was like a kid in a candy store. You know, he just seemed like he was having fun. Him and Gail were just having fun. I mean, I was with them you know, before they were together, I was with them when they were married, and I was with them when they were divorced. You know? So, but he just seemed to me like he was like a kid, you know, and he loved guns, and he loved to, you know, show me how to hotwire a car, and, you know, take me to some place to work out, and teach me karate, and show me all his drawings. And Jim was very inclusive as far as his actors, and, you know, you get these, used to be, you know, like, well, you know, actors, they shouldn't really watch dailies, because if they watch the dailies, then they'll get insecure and they'll change their performance. What the fuck are you talking about? The worst fucking thing I've ever heard in my life, you know. Maybe you see something you don't like, you change it. But Jim was always like, come in, watch, I got something cut here. I got a tech noir cut. Come in, watch dailies. How come you weren't at dailies last night? And I'm like, sorry, Jim, you know. So he was like a kid in a candy store, fun. He's a brilliant man. I mean, when you said almost a genius or something like that, I mean, he's a fucking genius. He's fucking Michael. And you know, I take him. You know, I just did this. I just did a movie, and I said I kind of Robert Rodriguez inspired it. It's kind of a grindhouse kind of movie. The one I was talking about that I directed it, and I said, I gave like I said in the end credits, thanks Robert Rodriguez, Rebel Without a Crew. It's a long story, but it's in the movie. But I was inspired by Robert Rodriguez to do that movie, but I'd take a bullet for Jim Cameron, and I mean that. I'd take a fucking bullet for him.
For Jeanette and Mark, you guys have one of my favorite relationships in the movie. How much of that is in the script? How much is the direction? How much did you guys?
I think it was just what we developed. You know, we spent quite a few weeks, you know, training together, and it was literally an all-day affair. So, you know, we became very close friends, and we were competitive. Now, I was going to say, you know, we all worked out a lot, right? And Rico and I used to have like sort of muscle because we shared a dressing room, and everyone knows I was ripped, right? But the truth is out of everybody, and this is God's honest truth, Jeanette put us all to shame. When we were doing the plug thing, Jeanette just doing behind the net, just like it's nothing. And I was there saying, oh, fuck, 5.5. Yeah, and she's the legitimate badass. But yeah, but we formed relationships.
Yeah, I mean, it was hinted at in the script. I mean, it said that the two of us were conscripted out of juvenile prison. We were both lifers, as opposed to being armed, you know, volunteer. I mean, we were conscripted. That was the idea. It was the choice was on life in prison or you go into the army for life. So there was a similar narrative between the two of us, and that was the reason why we were the front and the back. So, you know, but we became really good friends.
Yeah. And I can tell you, this is funny anecdote. So, you know, we started off, and Jim has all this great technology, and so we've got the steady cam arm with the real live 120-pound whatever machine gun arm on the end of it, right?
It was a great gun.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
But it was like literally, you know, if you let this thing go, it's like, so initially, like this was when Steadicam harness was like brand new.
Yeah.
So the first day we put them on, we were doing this like, you know, ninja stuff for Jim, and we'd go like this, and the weight of the gun would snap the vest right off our bodies. So problematical. So they, you know, when in doubt, use duct tape. They literally every morning, and this was a bitch, we would be duct taped into these motherfuckers and could not get out of the motherfuckers.
Bathroom.
You couldn't take them off all day. And I used to go home at night, because finally at the end of the day, like Jeanette and I would be standing there, just like, okay, cut the fucking thing off. They zip us out of it, and I would dream about that fucking thing. And then, so during the course of time, it was so cumbersome, like in between takes, Jeanette and I would sort of lumber over, and we sit in a chair like this. These guys are fucking around, right? And having a good time. The reason why Jeanette and I, we became such good friends because we couldn't go anywhere. I had to talk to her.